the Nightcap. It's your girl, Carolina Sanchez. We got some strong boss moms in the building. Listen, motherhood is tough, baby. It don't matter what age you are, how you're going through it, but it's a bigger challenge when you're dealing with it as a teenager. You get different looks, people treat you differently. And listen, being a kid and raising kids, come on, you already know that's a recipe for a different type of journey. All right, I got Andrew with Mixing Perfect Events in the building with a cocktail for us. What is this?
It's gonna be a pineapple lemon drop.
A pineapple lemon drop. You gonna show me how to make it later?
Absolutely.
Perfect, and the ladies on the couch already have their beverage, so let's get into it.
Yeah, what's up for a nightcap? Chill, you know, kick back.
All right, let's dive into it with these teen moms. We have Jasmine Robinson in the building for the very first time.
Hi.
We have Dana Aguilar, you know her, Houston's celebrity injector, but she's here for a very different topic today. And we have Erin Sweet joining us for the first time. Okay, teen motherhood. How was that?
Hard. Hard.
Is that the adjective you'd use, hard?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, but I was just telling them, for me, being in college and having my daughters, I just felt like, you know what, when I got pregnant, I was like, they were like, are you going to stay in school? I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to stay in school. Like, now I have no choice because I'm pregnant. Like, I have to do it. And so I was just saying, like, it could either be hard now or hard later. And you just have to choose your hard. And so for me, I'm like, I'll juggle the 3 jobs. I'll go to school. I'll get my education so that I can provide a better life for them, because what happens if I don't? Less than 2% of teen moms actually graduate college before the age of 30, and I had a master's and a bachelor's by the time I was 23.
Baby!
I know.
Baby.
So
Okay, now
good.
we're gonna have to dive in your
Yes.
coalition a little later on the show, because
Yes.
that's a phenomenal resource
Yeah.
for teen mothers. Tell us about your story, Dana.
So I was 18. Both my parents died when I was little, so I didn't have that
Support
adult.
system.
Yes, I mean my grandma raised me, but they were very old. Left home at 17, got pregnant at 18. I had 3 kids by the time I was 23.
Wow.
So it was really, really hard. I was also in a domestic violence relationship, so that was even harder. But through it all, my kids are amazing, and I am glad looking back that I did have them younger, because I'm 50 now and my son's 31. They're grown. I have 2 grandsons. So, but it was hard as hell growing up with no support system, no one to babysit for me, on food stamps, on government assistance, with all 3 of my kids. My 4th kid came later in my 30s when my career started going, so she's a princess. So she didn't go to school in the hood like the other 3, but
She don't know nothing about it.
she don't know nothing about roaches.
Not a
y'all.
hard knock
No,
at all.
no. But it was hard.
It was hard.
It was very hard.
All right, Erin, what about you? How was your...
I mean, for the most part, you know, I grew up in a place where there was a lot of young teen moms. I mean, when I was in middle school, there was a girl pregnant with twins and the whole 9. So when I was younger, I used to always tell people, I'm not going to be another teen statistic. And then I got pregnant at 18, and it kind of like halted me, because I wanted to go to school out of state. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going nowhere with the baby. So I ended up staying home. And I really kind of modified my life around her, because everybody made it such a big deal. It was like I was kind of erased in everybody's life. You know, it's no longer about you, it's about the baby now. So, you know, I kind of rebelled against that. And I was like, yeah, okay, you say that, but I'm still going to go do what I want to do.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
So
Okay,
I
so
kinda,
you did. You were like, screw what you guys have to say.
yeah.
I have dreams. I'm my own person.
Yeah, right. So I wanted to be a model. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to join a sorority. I wanted to go travel overseas. I wanted to do all of it, and I did.
That's awesome.
So it kind of fueled me. The one hiccup I did have was me thinking that I could just, you know, take advantage of, not necessarily take advantage, but lean on someone to watch her all the time. And my grandmother was still living at the time, so she was very helpful. And she helped me so much to where I didn't realize how privileged I was, you know? And it took for one person to kind of stop me and be like, hey, I know you think it's good that your daughter has a safe place to be, but the longer you are away from her, the further away you will grow.
Oh, wow.
So it halted me in my tracks, and I went home and I was like, hey girl, you gonna struggle with me.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of redirected my path.
That's one of my biggest regrets, is not continuing to go to school while they were younger. I did it later in life, but I mean, I do regret that. I feel like I could have been a doctor if, you
Do
know.
you feel like it was outside external pressures telling you like, oh no, there's no way you can juggle that? Or do you feel like you were like overwhelmed with having 3 kids?
I just didn't know how to do it. I work, you know, I would pick up little jobs here and there where I could bring them with me. They were, you know, all in, well, my son was a little bit older, but, you know, my 2 girls would come with me to cleaning jobs. Like, I've done it all. I've cleaned toilets. I've, you know, I'm very humble, and I will stay humble for the rest of my life because of that. I had nothing. And so you know, it makes me sad for them too, that they had to grow up like that. But my son is a nuclear physicist. He just got his PhD.
Baby, come
So,
Rocket scientist.
yes. So, I mean, I raised my daughters to not be a teen mother because I didn't want them to go through things that I had went through. So as soon as they were old enough, they got on birth control. Like, I didn't care. I'm like I said, my grandma, she was in her 90s, 80s then. So she didn't, you know, they were like, she's not doing anything, you know, and I was,
Yeah. They're
I was
expecting you to be
exactly the
princess.
same way. Like, I wanted a family. My heart was empty because I lost both of my parents when I was young. So I thought by having kids, that would fulfill something, which they changed my life. Like, you know, I don't want to get teary-eyed, but
Okay. We're gonna get you
emotional.
tissues.
They
We're gonna
do.
talk about.
They do
We're gonna talk
definitely
about
do.
the deep struggles you guys went through. So you guys stay right there. We're gonna continue our conversation with the teen moms coming up next. Welcome back to the Nightcap. We're celebrating motherhood, but the ladies on my couch happen to start a little earlier than others. We have Jasmine, we have Dana, and we have Erin, who have been sharing their journeys in teen motherhood. So I want to hear what the biggest struggle, when you look back and it's like, oh man, we're really going through it right now.
I think the biggest struggle was just realizing, like, maybe you felt like you let yourself down by making a decision. And again, something you alluded to is just the outside influences of people saying things about you. For me, I always felt like I needed to go above and beyond, and I did in every aspect of my life. And when I was in school, in high school, the moment I could start doing sports was actually 8th grade, and I did basketball, volleyball, track, cheerleading. I was in president's council, I was in student council, and I held positions in everything that I did. And same thing for high school. I was in NJROTC, I was a platoon leader, I was in unarmed drill team, I was a varsity cheerleader, and I was on the competition team. Like, I just did all of that. And so for me to go to college and kind of veer off of that path, or have people telling me that were kind of close to me as well, saying like, you know, I don't think you can do it and it's going to be so hard. And also, I'm a product of a teen mom who, she was in college and she did a year, and then she got pregnant with me and dropped out because of other people and what they had to say. And so for me, it's just all about a mindset, because yes, I work 3 jobs. You talked about, you know, cleaning and not being above that. And so I actually used to take care of people with mental disabilities, and I would have to bathe them, clothe them, feed them. It was extremely difficult because I was working overnight. I was also working on campus, and then I was also doing hair on the side. I was just doing whatever I could to like make money at all times so that I can take care of my daughters. And I was a true hustler for real. And so it was a struggle, but
Sleepless
again,
nights,
yeah,
but grinding.
but I'm like, at the end of the day, I can't sleep on myself. I can't sleep on my dreams, because my kids have to look at me and say, my mom did it. You know, for me, it was a struggle, but I mean, I don't look like what I've been through. And that's kind of like a thing of the past. And I'm reaping the benefits of my hard work.
Of your hard work
Yeah.
and the struggle. Yeah.
When I was 26, I finally got out of that relationship, and I'll never forget this. My aunt and my brother both told me, you'll never make more than $11 an hour, because I was looking for these, you know, I'm gonna make this and that. Oh no, you're gonna never make that. They're laughing at me.
So it's
Honey,
the outside factors.
I surpassed everybody in my family, and more. So it takes, I guess, people looking at you like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
to make you do it, because I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was,
And these are people who are close to you.
yeah.
That is really difficult, because when you hear that from people that you feel like, know everything, as long as you've grown up, those are the people who instill certain values in you. When you feel like you faltered on that, it is very difficult, because I'm a person who's hard on myself, but also when someone tells me I can't, I'm like,
yes,
now I'm
I
really gonna do it.
can.
And that's my mentality.
rebellious.
So I have that rebellious spirit, but in a good way though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no one's gonna save you but yourself. And when you
True.
realize that, it's a whole different type of, you put that cape on and you keep going.
Yeah,
You just
and,
do.
and the thing about putting the cape on and keeping on going is when you're young, you have to do that, but you don't the biggest thing for me is, like she said earlier, you're a child raising a child.
yeah.
So you don't really know everything, and you are young and you're so prideful because you want to, especially when you have a lot of external forces telling you what you can't do, you want to prove them wrong, and you have to put your kids first all the time. It's not, people tell you all the time, it's not about you anymore. It's not about you anymore. It's about your kids. So for me, I know one of my biggest challenges was just realizing who I was and what my power was.
Yeah.
Because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a model. I knew I wanted to be in productions in the entertainment world. So I put so much emphasis on those little small things that I wanted for myself, because people told me I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
To where when I reached them,
Do
I
you
had to
feel
redefine
like,
it.
Aaron, that in your pursuit to follow your dreams, you were neglecting your kid?
Sometimes, yes, I did feel like I was neglecting my kid. Primarily because I would leave her with relatives, and then you got the other relative, well, she left the baby at so-and-so house, or well, she needed to go get it. There was one time where I had to go home for like a couple of days, or maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks. I had moved from Houston. I was having a hard time here, and I decided to go home. And it was like a whole family thing. Well, Aaron's going back home to Granny's house, and the baby's gonna be there, and then all this extra stuff. It was always an ordeal, And I didn't grow up with my mom and my dad. Like, my dad remarried, my mom was in Michigan, so I was kind of always by myself with my grandmother. So I was always the extra person, So I didn't get treated like with my kids. I'm there all the time. I'm not missing nothing because my parents weren't there for me. So if I feel like with my kids, instead of being a good parent, whatever that is, I try to be present for them all the time. There's times where I find myself trying to be friends with my 16-year-old versus parenting her. So it's like you have to find a line of balance, like you said, work-life balance between being their friend and being there for them, giving them what you didn't have, and also just parenting them.
I do want to hear from you, the advice for anyone who's facing the same struggles that you guys faced. So coming up next, we're gonna hear more from these teen moms. Stay right there. Welcome back to the Nightcap. We've been talking to some moms who took on the challenge as teenagers. We've got Jasmine, Dana, and Aaron. We've heard about the struggles, the challenges, but obviously you guys are so proud of your children now, proud of yourselves and what you went through and who you are now, because y'all are some boss-ass women up here. So for the mother at home or the grandmother at home who's been shaming her daughter who got pregnant young, what advice, what do you tell them about the journey that they're taking on?
Teach them. Teach them. A lot of times parents want to punish their kids for what they don't know, but have you taken the time to teach them the way? So
Instead of judging, instead of
judging them.
reprimanding,
Yeah.
take the time to be like, okay, no, this is.
And if they do something wrong, teach them a way around it. Don't just beat them down for doing something wrong. Okay, oh, well, now you're pregnant. Okay, these are the resources that we're going to do,
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother on my father's side. My grandmother on my mother's side is the one who I kind of was like raised with, doing things with all the time. Traditionally, how that goes. And so she was actually very disappointed. She was the one who was like, and she's actually the first person to say, you're pregnant. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I was sleeping a lot. I had come home from college and she was like, you're pregnant and you better not be pregnant. Don't bring a baby back here. Like, no.
She was like,
and I was
you're
just like,
pregnant, but don't be.
yeah, but don't be. And so I was just terrified. And I talked to my dad's mother, and when I talked to her, she was just like, don't kill my grandbaby. Because I was like, I'm just gonna get an abortion, I'm scared. And she was like, don't do that, don't do it. And actually with my second daughter, I didn't know I was pregnant. I went to go get birth control, and they were like, girl, like, you need prenatal vitamins. Like, why are you coming here playing? And I'm like, yeah. So when I drove home, imagine the drive home was very awkward, because it was just like, I have this baby and I have no choice but to have it. I can't even, like, that's why they're only a year apart, because I didn't know. It was in between that window of time where you can get pregnant again.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard. But when my grandmother said that on my father's side, it really just made me feel like, you know what, I can do this. It's going to be okay. And even though I made this decision based off of my trauma and my hurt, because this is my first daughter, I knew I'll be all right. Like, I have someone, even if it's not me dropping my kid off, there's someone who believes in me and still feels like I'm worthwhile, even from this situation. So that, I think, just standing by them, because at the end of the day, what I've realized is, like, yeah, they'll be mad in the beginning, but once the baby is born, they will melt like putty. It's so different. They're like, give me that baby. Like, let me see the baby. It's just different. Like, that hate is strong for a person they don't even know.
It is.
That's
and
really what it is.
It's crazy now seeing my relatives who try to convince me or my daughter's dad to abort.
Yeah.
And now they love my kids. You know, it's like,
They do.
well, but before you were talking all that smack, you wanted me to get rid of it.
Because they didn't know that they were a stranger.
Exactly.
The common denominator here is that as a mother, we make mistakes. And I know I've made mine, and I apologize to my kids, and I tell them that I tried to be the best mom that I knew how to be, because I didn't have a mom my entire life since I was 3 to show me what's right and wrong. So I tried my best as their mom. But yeah, my advice would just be, just be there for them. Same thing. And, don't let someone else raise your kid.
Before we go, I'd love to know about the Collegiate Moms Coalition for people who...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Collegiate Mom Coalition is actually a nonprofit that I started back in 2010. I started my nonprofit because I wanted to do the Miss Prairie View pageant, and they told me that I could not participate because I had children. And so they pulled me to the side and was like, no. And then they were like, we have these rules that you can't have lived with someone, you can't have had an abortion. And I was like, what does that, like, where does that leave me? Because I'm the only person who actually went through with the pregnancy. So that's weird, I just decided, you know what, if I can't join them, I'll just start my own thing. So it actually started off as a pageant. It was called the Miss Collegiate Mom Scholarship Pageant. And we were able to raise $7,000 in scholarships for 6 different moms. And each one of those moms who went through my program actually graduated from college. And I still keep in touch with a lot of them. They're actually going to be at my event. And so I have an event coming up June 2nd. It's going to be at the Luminous Beauty Bar in Pearland, Texas. It's going to be from 1 to 5. The door's gonna open at 12:30. The tickets are $20, but if you do 2 tickets, it'll be 2 for $35. So you save $5. And if you can't make it, you can still buy a ticket for young women who are gonna be in the audience, because I am working with other nonprofits to bring the young ladies who are teen moms and their children out to the event. We're gonna have panelists of teen moms actually who are professionals in their careers. They have all graduated. They are just doing phenomenal things in Houston. And so, yeah.
Awesome. I love that work.
Well,
cheers to you, ladies. You killed it. I'm so happy that you were able to come on and share the joys and the challenges you faced. All right, coming up next, I'm heading behind the bar to learn how to make this delicious cocktail. You stay right there. We'll be right back. We've got every episode of the Nightcap, and we can go for hours. Download the Fox Local app on any of the following smart TV platforms and get in on the fun. Welcome back to the Nightcap. I'm behind the bar now because we've got Andrew Hawley here, one of the owners of Mixing Perfect Events, and you're here to do what?
Back that
crosser! Yes, sir. And listen, I chugged that drink. That drink was delicious. Okay, so yeah, let's make it again.
Okay.
All right, what's in it? Without giving like secret recipes away, right?
It's literally it's gonna be a tequila pineapple lemon drop.
All right, go ahead and shake it up and tell me about Mixing Perfect Events.
Mixing Perfect Events is pretty much an organization that I made with my girlfriend. Her name is Candace Riley. She's the owner of Expensive Taste Catering, which a lot of people know in the city. And she kind of took me under her wing and kind of branched this out for me to do, and so I could have my own thing. And we've been doing it from there.
I love it. Okay, so do you show up and do this extravagant, like?
She shows up and do this.
Oh, okay. You can give Candace the credit she deserves.
She shows up and do the extravagant, and this is what I do. So I put her vision to practice, and I make sure it comes out and tastes great.
All right, shake it up. Yeah, let's do it. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. That's the one thing I can do, if I'm being honest.
Shake it.
Yeah.
It's the most important
how
thing.
easily he opened that? It was so big to do. For me, it's always quite a problem. Yes, look at that. Look at the froth. Awesome.
Get your dried pineapple in there.
Bada bing, bada boom.
There you go.
Oh, and look at these thirsty moms walking up here. Yeah, okay, I see y'all thirsty. All right, listen, cheers. Cheers to the mamas.
Cheers, cheers,
Cheers, cheers, cheers. And cheers to mixing perfect events. And cheers to you. We'll see you guys next time.